I think I'm going for the Vin Diesel thing. You know, bald head, drinking Corona, getting the family together. I've just got to work on that working out 5 days a week.
Welcome to It Comes In Pints, a Seattle Study Club podcast where we will explore a myriad of topics: clinical, health and well-being, psychological, education, business, and much more. I'm your host, Greg Tice.
Hi, I'm Gary Dickenson, the CEO of Seattle Study Club.
All right. So I want to welcome everybody to the inaugural podcast of It Comes In Pints with Greg Tice, the inaugural Seattle Study Club podcast. And our first guest is the CEO of Seattle Study Club, Gary Dickenson. One of the things we want to do with this podcast is make it more communal, more conversational. So to do that, everybody is going to introduce one of their favorite drinks. Alcoholic, non-alcoholic, doesn't matter. But we will be sipping on those drinks during those podcasts. So what have you brought to share with us today?
Corona.
Of course, it's a Corona.
Now, I'm from the north of England, where beer is a mainstay. But then I started travelling the world for business. And wherever you go in the world, they want to take you out and experience the local culture. And I've politely smiled my way through some horrible drinks over the years. And then I got to a certain point where I realised I'm just going to drink what I damn well like. And Corona is consistent worldwide. It tastes the same and it looks the same. So wherever I go, I'll have a Corona and I'll have a cheeseburger.
Well, after this comment, I'm sure Corona will not sponsor this podcast because Corona is not really beer. It just is bad water.
It's bad water, but it tastes nice. And I think I'm going for the Vin Diesel thing. You know, bald head, drinking Corona, getting the family together.
Brilliant.
I've just got to work on that working out 5 days a week.
Since you were bringing beer, I brought beer as well. A much better one, though. I am drinking an Elysian Space Dust, an IPA.
Wow.
So if you're going to get beer, you might as well get a good beer. So cheers to the inaugural podcast.
Cheers to you, Greg.
Have a sip.
Liquid gold.
Oh, yeah. That's good. And you are welcome to partake during the discussion.
You try stopping me.
So let's start here. You were a nurse in a previous life.
I sure was.
Tell me about that and the transition to dental.
Yeah, it's a strange one. So growing up, I spent a lot of time in hospital. No tragic illnesses or sob story. If you could bend it and break it, I've bent it or broke it. Spent a lot of time in hospitals, and the nurses always made me feel better. The doctor'd walk in and he'd stand at the end of the bed and tell you something scary. You know, we're going to cut here and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And I always remember feeling safe and protected by the nurses, and that's a feeling I want to give to other people. So as I got to that age, 16, 17, not sure what I wanted to do, my mum reminded me of that. So I applied and I absolutely loved nursing. It was, I think, nursing has so many transferable skills, because I asked many people, what do you think the main role of a nurse is? And no one gets it right. They'll normally list a load of tasks that nurses perform. But the main role of the nurse is to be an advocate for the patient.
Yeah, I would have listed bedpans and
absolutely,
meds.
and many. Nursing got a lot more exciting in terms of the manual roles or physical roles you'd undertake. In the UK, junior doctors, hours had to be reduced, and the slack of those procedures, taking blood, catheterising, all came onto the nurse. So it was exciting. You learned a lot of great skills. But the main role for me was to be an advocate, was to make sure that my patient understood what was happening with all those scary words the doctor was saying to them. And so the main skill of a nurse is emotional intelligence, is to be able to understand. One day you might be treating a high court judge. Well, the majority of the time in the place where I lived, the patients were minors or housewives, and being able to relate and have the emotional intelligence to be able to relate to people from different backgrounds, I think, is the greatest skill I've got in life.
Brilliant. And so how did that transition to dental?
Well, it's all right being an idealistic 20-year-old and money doesn't matter, and you're doing what you wanted to do, and you call in, and then you meet an amazing woman, and you decide to have children.
That would be Joe.
Joe, yes, my greatest strength, my proudest advocate and the scariest person I know in the world. Well, we've been together a lot of years now, but when you have kids and you have to start buying bigger houses, even though I was doing 84 hours a week as a staff nurse, working primarily in palliative oncology, which I found the most rewarding area of this. It's an area of nursing not a lot of people want to go into because none of your patients come out alive. But to be able to give comfort to those people, that was such a humbling experience. And do you know what? I learnt so much about life. No one ever on the deathbed, and I've sat and watched 1,000 people pass away. No one wished they earned more money. They all. So it really freeing for me is I did what makes me happy. And the rule I say to all of my children is do what makes you happy, not what makes you rich. Because money's just numbers and numbers never end. You'll never be happy if it's money you're chasing. So it's my one rule for everyone. So it's enabled me to be quite fortunate in life is that I don't risk it. I know if something goes wrong for me in business, my wife still loves me, my kids still love me, my mum still loves me. So it's really freeing to have that. And I got that perspective on life at 21, which has served me well.
That's pretty young to get that perspective.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was.
Does that come from your mom? Where does that come from?
It was really nursing that rounded it. But my parents, if you ask me who my heroes were, and I hope I haven't spoiled one of your questions for later on, but it's not. It's my mum and dad. They were two just hardworking people that, never be afraid to work hard. It's one of the things that's in your control is the ability to be able to work harder than anyone else. So I pride myself on being able to put in more hours than anybody.
So you started in nursing.
Yep.
Got married, had kids.
Yep.
At which point the decision is...
We need a 3-bedroom house. I better earn some more money because when you work a job that's an hourly rate of pay, there's only a certain amount of hours in a week.
Yeah.
There's only so much you could earn, only a certain size house you could afford. So I stumbled into a job in dental sales, and it turns out I was just great at selling. And
so you were carrying a bag?
Yeah, I was knocking on the end. So everyone else would sit and wait for leads to come in the team, whereas I'd go and knock on the doors and just start a conversation. And after 6 months, I was the best salesperson in the company, and at the staff sales meeting for the year, they'd say, Gary, how do you do it? What's your closing line? I said, I just go and have a conversation. Fortunate enough to have a good product. And I actually tell people not to buy. Like, here's what the products are, here's my card. If you ever want to do something, just get in touch with me. And people are surprised, like, you don't need me to buy now. I'm like, no, you buy when you're ready. If a product wasn't right for them, I wouldn't sell it to them.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I like that playing the long game. Because I won't lie. Well, I'm going to lie to earn an extra $200 commission.
Well, and people read that honesty from you anyway. If it's really about them as the end result or what their needs are, they read that in you.
Yeah, so I sleep well at the end of the day knowing I've worked hard and been honest and truthful to myself. So that it just seemed to work, and then so as you're the best salesperson, you gravitate up and up and up. So I had no MBA, I had no formal business training, but I'm fortunate. I've got a high IQ, so numbers just make sense to me. Just people say, how can I work my way around spreadsheets and things like that and learn it so quickly? It's how does an artist know how to paint? They just do.
They just start.
It's not practice. So I realised that I was good at nursing because everything new to me, nursing, I researched. And this was back in the day where you had to go back, pick up the medical dictionary. Google wasn't really quite what it was.
You weren't carrying a phone with you?
No, there was no phone to quickly Google, what does this mean? But so I learned, I was just a fantastic appetite for knowledge. And I suppose that's what's led me down this path now. I managed to work my way up in companies just by working harder than everyone else and getting better results. And I'd done that for a while and moved around the world with different companies. And then someone said to me, why don't you do this for yourself? So that birthed my 3 companies I've got in the UK, which are dental companies. I also owned a dental office as well, because I was selling products to dentists, but had no idea what made them make a buying decision. When all these flyers come through the door or these emails you receive, what makes a dental office say yes or no to a new procedure or product? So I bought that. It taught me a lot. I didn't understand why others didn't do it, but I worked and learnt a lot, and I love being inspired by people. So find the right people, find the right idols, and follow them.
Well, that approach is actually similar to Seattle Study Club, right? We used to say dentists are picking and choosing the courses they're going to from the brochures that are coming across their desk. And that's no way to build a curriculum or to build a purposeful growth path, right? Where do I really want to go and what do I want to do?
Yeah.
Which is why the study club is such a good fit. So you owned a dental practice.
Yes.
You started a dental continuing education company.
No, so I started 3 companies. The first one, CFast, is an orthodontic device. And then I realised a way to onboard people is by education. Teach them
Right.
how to perform these procedures, and then have a product to sell after it. So it's that revenue stream while you sleep. So I realised I could only do that if our education was world class. So find the right educators, build a program that people want to come on. And that's what built the businesses up and got me a reputation of a guy that'll do something different. The one thing I did different to all other companies, there was lots of companies with products similar to ours, but they had the philosophy that you're the doctor, if you prescribe it, we'll make it. The onus is on you and the responsibility is on you. Whereas in our laboratory, we had some master technicians and some clinicians that reviewed every case. And if we didn't think it was suitable to treat, we'd just say no. So we turned work down. And there's something about that resonated with people.
Yep.
You're keeping us safe. You're not letting us get out of our depth. And I've never had one single dentist in front of a tribunal for a mistreatment of a patient, because we've looked through every part of the records. We've talked to the dentist. And if we've said to a dentist, no, in this case, we've told them why. We said, you've only treated a few cases like this. This is too advanced for you to treat. So if you want to do it, go get some further education. Then we're happy to make the work, but we just think you'd be going down the wrong path. And do you know what? Saying no to people grows your business.
Oh, that's again, it's putting the end user first.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's best for them.
Yeah, and that stuck true to me. With, like I said, when I first started selling, I'd tell a doctor if the product wasn't right. It just worked. So people respect that. They realise you're not just out for a quick buck. You know, we're there for the longer. We want to grow a relationship with you, and it's that. As people, we all seek relationships. It's what we're kind of, genetically disposed to do. So building that, and it became known as the CFast family. And I had this point of every single one of our customers on every course, they'd meet me, they'd shake my hand and they'd get my phone number. And that was great in the first year or so. We had 600, but we ended up with 5,300 customers. And I try my damnedest to make sure that every one of them
it's a lot of text.
knew where the book stopped. And so it was, the amount of WhatsApp groups that I'm on with doctors and different people is mind-blowing. But it's a promise I gave, and it's a promise I'll keep.
So, successful companies in the UK,
Mm-hmm.
a great family, nice home. You're now in Charlotte, running Seattle Study Club. How does that happen? And why does that
It's a crazy one. It's opening your big mouth. Now, to me, family is the most important. I open my big mouth. I'll get around to the story. Yeah, but to me, your family is everything. Well, we go to work for our family to provide what we can for our family and give them the best life possible. But families aren't all perfect. And there's so many people. I'll sit and Tiffany's just graduated magna cum laude from Harvard and stuff like that. I hear so much false stuff. It's when you sit down and have a beer with somebody that they tell the real stuff. So I'm amazingly open and honest about my family. I've tried my damnedest as a parent. I never took a shortcut. But kids ain't perfect. Life ain't perfect. I think on my first day with Seattle Study Club, I told you all that my son's been in a lot of trouble. He's gone out bar fight. He's got mental health issues, autism, Asperger's. He's being tested for that now. Always had ADHD. Do you know what? It brings some challenging times. But that's the making of a family, is the stuff you go through. And I hate it when you hear those people just telling you all the good stuff. I like the bad stuff.
Yeah,
we all go through
with
it.
Me, please.
But do you know what? It normalises it for you, because there's so many people out there that are suffering and struggling, the things they're going through, and they never talk about it. So I'll openly talk about the challenges in my family. That's the way the world should be.
Okay, but you didn't answer my question.
What was the question again?
How do you go from successful company, great home and family life in the UK, to moving to Charlotte and running Seattle Study Club?
So as one of my companies was a partner of Seattle Study Club, so I got exposed to the world of Seattle Study Club through that. And I love what it was building in the community. It's what I'd done in the UK, but on a bigger scale. So talked to somebody that had some involvement with Seattle Study Club and said things I think that the company should do better. And he'd mentioned that one of the issues that Seattle Study Club was having was trying to find the right CEO. And I flippantly said in a phone conversation a little while after, I could do that with my eyes closed. I've owned dental offices, I run dental companies, and I do more CE than anybody. And he said, well,
and a year later, you regret that statement.
No, so he said, well, why don't you come and meet the board in Los Angeles? And I'm a non-exec director for many companies. When I started my businesses, when you don't know a lot about business, you've been in a protected world of big companies where there's someone to do the HR, there's someone to do the legal. When you start your own businesses, you need help. And I reached out to consultants, and it's like, yeah, we'll do it, $5,000 a day. I'm like, I've just started a business.
I don't have that.
So I always said, when I make it and become successful, and successful, as we said, is relative. To me, all I wanted to do in life was own a 4-bedroom house. It's what my parents had, and I loved my upbringing. I wanted to be able to do that. So success is relative. But when I become what I thought was successful, I said I'll give my time back for start-up companies that need that foot up, that don't have a HR department, don't have a legal department. So I started doing that. So the trip to Los Angeles, I thought, hey, he liked the advice I'd given and just wants me to give it to the board. So I turned up, met with the board of directors, and they said, would you be her CEO? So went to the parking lot, called my wife back in England and said, do you fancy moving to America? And she said, sounds like a challenge, let's do it. And that's why my wife's amazing. Life's a journey.
Yep.
Just go do it. As long as you smile every day, then that's what matters.
Yeah,
so,
I will throw my 2 cents in here. Your wife is absolutely amazing, and she and I get into it on a regular basis, and I love her for that. So.
She is good. And do you know what? The best thing as well about my wife is when I introduce her to people, and people like, you're married to him? Like, you are way too good for him.
I get that too, yeah.
Do you know, like, having a wife that's much hotter than you is a real compliment.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so you moved from the UK. You're in Charlotte now, correct?
Yeah, so we could have moved anywhere in North America. So living in England for most of your life, it's a bit like Seattle. It's pretty much grey most of the time.
Yeah.
So we said, like, let's move somewhere where the sun shines. But it needs to be somewhere with a good-sized airport. So we looked at Dallas, we looked at Atlanta, Nashville. But when I was flying over, meeting people in America, and I gave those 4 options, everyone said Charlotte. Not one person differed. Everyone goes, I'd move to Charlotte. So we got our visas in November and found a place, rented it online, and moved here 2 weeks later.
And I hear you got a tour from one of our partners in Charlotte the first time you were ever there?
A tour?
Didn't Bob Salvin show you around?
That was
Charlotte
when I moved here.
It was after you moved.
Bob Salvin had said, come and meet me. So we went to Bob's house, and just wonderful. Bob and Suzanne, just tremendously big-hearted people, and again, part of the wider Seattle Study Club family, and just were fantastic and giving us the lowdown on it. But also Ray Hagney, who runs a study club just north of Charlotte, great guy, and just been so helpful as well. It's just, it never ceases to amaze me, the kindness of people. I know if you spend your life watching the news, you'll think the world's a terrible place. The world's a beautiful place.
Yeah, I avoid the news now. It's over. And great shout out to Ray. Hopefully he listens far enough into the podcast to hear the shout out that he gets. So you moved to Charlotte. You're running Seattle Study Club. I'm going to go for the jugular with a loaded question here. And I want to move to the vision for Seattle Study Club, what you see happening down the road. But first, so it was the end of May 2024 when face-to-face we met and you met, the entire team all came into Seattle to meet with you for a couple of days.
Yeah.
What was your first opinion of the team at Seattle Study Club?
So I sat down with everybody for half an hour on that first day to understand them, and wasn't talking about business and what you do. I want to know who they are as a person. To me, people are the most important thing. If you ask me what the most valuable asset of any business is, it's not its intellectual property, it's not its products, it's its people. And I realised we had some amazing people. They just had no direction. And that came, Michael had sold the business a few years ago, and you'd kissed a few frogs with a few other CEOs over that time, and it was just lacking in direction. And I think the staff were just stuck not knowing which way they were supposed to go, but they were all amazing people. And so it was on the second day we sat down, and defined who Seattle Study Club is. We wrote a mission statement. Who is, what are our strengths, and what do we mean to dentistry and our constituents? So we did that. So I was really excited when I came on board.
Yeah.
Now remember, I like a challenge. So it wasn't, I didn't want to come in a company that everything was fine. There's not a lot to change if everything's going well. So the fact that it was a challenge and needed a direction, I'm good with direction.
Yeah.
And I'm good at leading.
It's, in my opinion, it's a super strong team. And when I look back and look at what this team has produced and put out and done over the last 30 years,
Yeah.
but the last 5 in particular, I mean, an amazing level of production and just output from this group. But I'm sure there had to have been a weak link. Who was that?
You.
Of course it was.
Obviously.
I knew that's where you were going.
But you kind of served that one up to me there on a plate, didn't you? And it's an organisation with 6,000 members. But at the heart of it, and I've visited many clubs now, some great ones around the country. I'll give some shout outs at some point. But I was just with Peter Thorne's club, Casco Bay Study Club.
Yeah, up in Maine.
Damn, that's a beautiful place, but such a well-run club. The coordinator there, Jam. And the reason I'm going out to visit as many clubs as I can is to realise what the clubs need and what we need to be for the clubs, and learning from best practice. And they run a stunning meeting, some amazing warm-hearted members, and everyone there. It was just a really great group. But every single club I visited, everyone knows Greg. So
that's not always a good thing.
I'm afraid. Well, I said everyone knows Greg. I never said everyone likes Greg. But everyone knows Greg, and it just feels like a huge extended family. And that's why I think the most humbling time in my career was being asked to be the CEO of this organisation, hopefully lead it to a future that serves all of its constituents.
So let's talk about that, and let's talk about not only today where you see Seattle Study Club in the future, what's important, what's coming down the turnpike, but how has that changed from May of last year when you started with Seattle Study Club to today, right? Once you get in the weeds within the organization, you learn more, you adjust your plans and your targets. So I'm super interested in how has that changed as well.
Yeah, so I had a 15-point plan of things that needed to address and ways to develop Seattle Study Club. And the goal over the 5 years was it's Project 10,000. It's to get us up to 10,000 members. That's not 10,000 dental members. I want Seattle Study Club to be the home, the place that people come to, whichever realm of dentistry in, be you an office manager, be you a hygienist, be you an assistant. I want to be that home and bring it all together.
So not just the docs.
Not just the docs, no. The docs is what we've grown our name and our reputation on, and it will always be the centre of our business. But a dental office is more than just the doctor. 100%. And if we're going to really help dentists grow, we need to help the dental offices grow and learn. And if we can provide education down the line that touches on every aspect of the dental office, then we're going to help these practices grow and be more successful and ultimately serve their patients better. So that is part of the vision. But yes, when I came in, it was like a little bit of a gulp. It's like, God, this is a big one to turn around. But so whenever you take on something new, I'm not daunted by anything. Being a nurse, believe me, when you've got a £300 patient that arrests right in front of you, and you've got 4 patients on chemo, and you've got 26 other patients that are needing stuff doing, you learn not to panic. You learn
somebody that's upset that their room doesn't look the right way at a meeting.
Yeah.
Easy to handle at that point.
Yes. So anything in life after being a nurse at that age is easy. But I realised, just find out what the people need and give them it. Don't try to make a quick buck. Build the business and the people will come. Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
Build it and
they'll come.
If we can make Seattle Study Club personify excellence at every turn, it means not accepting something not being the best, from our educators to our staff to our promotional material they put out. If we're excellent at every turn, then that'll be reinforced with people that's what we're about, and that's where we plant our flag, is that we are the world leaders in dental education.
So 10,000, Project 10,000, 10,000 members, 10,000 people we're touching in the dental world. clinicians as the primary focus, but as we've talked about ad nauseum almost, the doctors can get as good as they want to be clinically. If their team's not growing and moving forward, the practice isn't going anywhere.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're including hygiene, we're including assistants, we're including front office managers, all of that.
We're already touching on the hygiene side of things now with our Avery program, which has been way more well received than even us in our wildest dreams.
So tell me about that. What is the Avery program?
It's just a series of monthly webinars with some of the thought leaders within the profession, just to build that community of home hygienists to get the education that they need and inspire them to what they can do.
So a virtual study club
for
hygienists.
12 hours. I would love 18 months down the line from now to have actually a live in-person meeting with hygienists and dentists.
Okay, like we do for Symposium, only for hygienists.
I want a huge symposium that has a huge ballroom that everyone sits in. Then the hygienists will break off on their track, the office managers will break off on their track, assistants will break off on their track, and then we all come back in to the main room for the main keynotes. That's my vision.
There are like 3 hotels in the world that could hold us for that. So that would be an amazing week.
That is the ultimate goal. To get to that point in the next couple of years. So we then really do truly serve all of our constituents.
Okay, so we've got a target of 10,000. We've got aviary for hygienists, the virtual club. What other projects are coming down the pike? But before you answer that question, why 10,000? If we hit 10,000, what does that mean? What does that allow us to do?
Well, it's just an arbitrary figure, to be honest with you, Greg. It just sounded a lot better than 6. Looking at the size of the profession and the impact we've already got, then I think 10,000 is a realistic goal. Hey, it may be 15, it may be 20. But Project 10,000 is where we want to get to. 10,000 people that are part of the Seattle Study Club.
So you're going to make me lead you in this, right? Because one of the things you said to me early on with Project 10,000 was, when we hit that number, we have more leverage to be able to provide additional funding, support, other things for the directors and the members of our study clubs.
That's it. So what I realized, building
it's a leading question. Just those of you watching this, I had to lead him there. This is my daily with Gary.
Bring me back, because I'll talk and go off on tangents here, then bring me back to that question again. So we've already got 6,000 members, and with 6,000 members comes tremendous economies of scale that I don't think Seattle Study Club ever leveraged. We're the biggest collective of dentists in North America, and when you've got a collective of people like that all pulling in the same direction, it brings you buying power, and buying power that we've never really leveraged. So it's my role to leverage that to benefit all of our members. And one of the real challenges I'd seen when I spoke to all the staff at Seattle Study Club was about the lack of healthcare coverage for dental professionals.
Right.
Most of them never had healthcare coverage, and I believe healthcare is an inalienable human right. I come from the UK. Healthcare is free at the point of delivery. Whatever happens to you, it's covered. It might not be the best healthcare, but it's healthcare.
Yeah, that ain't the case here, for sure.
You get in a road traffic accident, you get cancer, there's never a bill comes through your door. It's not one of the things you have to worry about or think about. It's a real worry and things for people to be concerned about. So I know we sat down and we said, right, how do we get this together? And we looked at different structures. There's things called MEWAs, there's things called PEOs, and there was no way it could work. And then you ask the question, well, why has no one else done this? Well, it's because it's really hard work and difficult to put together. But never been afraid of hard work. I always believe that if you ask enough people, you'll get the answer you need, and if you keep trying. So we have put together a nationwide healthcare plan that is same cost for everybody. Really good level of coverages, but tiers. So my goal is that's a benefit of being part of your study club, is you can access this for you and your staff. I don't want assistants in dental offices unable to access healthcare because they can't afford it. And normally the situation is a dental office might have 10 members of staff and they can't leverage a good rate. They're paying.
No, as a small business, they have no leverage to negotiate rates or get a decent healthcare coverage rate.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is one thing we're hoping to solve when we launch the Seattle Study Club Health Care Plan later on in the year. It's a simple enrolment for everybody, so that's doing good. What I say, if we do the right thing, then people will want to join and want to be a part of it. And another thing is that I've been humbled and privileged to work with the team at Align, and they recognise the strength and the size of Seattle Study Club, so they've put a fantastic offer together for just Seattle Study Club members, which is they typically charge $3,000 for their course to be a provider of Align.
Yeah, just to learn how to utilize Align, right?
Yeah, but for all Seattle Study Club members, that's free of charge. That's a $3,000 saving, and they're also doing an exclusive discount, which I can't on a public broadcast say the percentage discount they're getting. I think it's fairly safe to say that probably only 4 or 5% of Invisalign providers get this discount across North America. So we're using that, and the goal is to just bring more of those things. So there's a whole list of reasons and exclusive offers just for Seattle Study Club members, and that alone should grow membership, but also keep our existing members happy.
And help them out. So let's talk about those two just briefly for a second. With the healthcare, we're looking at rolling that out probably this summer, this fall. What's the
it will be at
rough
some
timeline we're
some
looking
point
at?
in quarter 3.
In Q3.
Yeah.
So people can look for that information as it comes out. And that's, in essence, just to reiterate, that's an opportunity for them to set themselves and their teams up with a healthcare plan.
Yeah.
With insurance.
It's not just isolated to the doctor that's a member. It's the doctor that's a member and his team members
Right.
back in his office. So yes, I want this to reach as many people as possible.
And then the Align is free become
Certification course.
certified Invisalign provider course, and a significant discount.
Yeah.
And if they want to join that now, that's open to them. How do they?
Yeah, you can enroll. There's go onto our website. You'll find links to it. So you just download, fill out the form, send it to us. We'll then sit down with the Align team on a weekly basis and approve everybody that enrolls in it. And you'll then be invited to a certification course free of charge.
All right, so let's wrap this up because I need another beer. But to wrap it up, I'm super excited about what you and Michael and David Winkler have put together for Symposium this year. So this coming January. So tell me about that. Tell me about like the idea behind it, the theme, the people that are coming in. It's going to be phenomenal.
Do you know, I put on more C than pretty much anyone in Europe. But the chance to sit down with someone like Michael Cohen, who kind of birthed the careers of a lot of the big speakers that we know now, to get to sit down with Michael and craft my first symposium was kind of a pinch me moment. Because I'd said to Michael, I love the Isaac Newton's quote, which when he was asked how he can be so visionary, he said, if I can see so far into the future, it's only because I've been standing on the shoulders of giants. And that was always in my head as a theme for this. And so I sat down with Michael and my great friend from Europe, David Winkler. David Winkler's been president of everything that you can be a president of in dentistry. And do you know what? He's my dental interpreter. You know, if there's something I want to understand, be it clinically, be it emotionally within dentistry and the world of being a dentist, then David's my interpreter for that. So when I put those two together, and David's ran the IFED meeting all over the world, European Academies of Aesthetic Dentistry. He's had that many lecturers. He's like the European Michael. So those two together saying, build me the best symposium.
Can't even imagine being in that room.
Do you know, I was on that Zoom call and, you know, I'd mention the name of someone like, amazing, and like Michael or David were like, oh yeah, just give him a quick call and see if he'd be free to do it. So I said to Michael, forget the budget. I just want the best event. And, you know, when Michael ran the business, there always had to be an eye on the budget. But I've said, look, I worry about the budget. You worry about putting the best speaker lineup together there's ever been. And everybody they reached out to just said yes. And it's mind-blowing. So I had the privilege of being able to choose the hotel we go to, though. That was nice. And I wanted something. I'm all about family. I wanted something that felt like a community. And I visited a lot of hotels, but and we've traditionally always done hotels with the Ritz-Carlton, which is part of the Marriott chain.
Yeah.
So I thought, do you know what? I'm going to ask the Marriott people, our account manager there, where does the guy that runs Marriott hotels go on vacation? And they said, well, every year for his birthday, David Marriott, him and his family go to the Camelback Resort in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm like, right, book me a meeting with the events
is a JW, right?
It's a JW Marriott. And it was different from the Ritz-Carlton we've always done, but I still think the JW is as high a level as the Ritz-Carlton. So I said, book me a meeting with the events organizer there, and me and a couple of members of the team went out and visited, and we were just blown away. It's just this lovely village, just all these casitas. But often you'll find a hotel that's a great hotel, but the conference facilities aren't great. They've got a purpose-built, they've got a 20,000 square foot ballroom, a 15,000 square foot ballroom, plenty of space, big glass sliding doors that open out into a terrace, because symposium is one of the trickiest things in the dental world to put together, because the standard is so high.
Yes.
And it's not just about the clinical education. You have to get the entertainment perfect. And so the facilities there just allow for it. And it's when I walked out, you walk out of the main reception there, into this bar area with all these fire pits and little terraces up, and I went and stood at the top of the terrace, looked back at the bar and this outdoor seating area, and I could just imagine 600 Seattle Study Club people there, and it was that moment I was like, this is the place.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we took the team there
Yeah.
at Christmas time for retreat and celebration. And to me, the one thing I want everybody listening to this to know is the bar area there, especially the outdoor by the fire pits and all of that, that is going to be where everybody is every evening. It is ideal for symposium.
It's perfect for socialising. It's perfect for the actual running of the lectures. It just ticked every box. And like I say, it was when I stood up there I realised that place packed with Seattle Study Club family, it will be pretty cool. I can imagine Eric Rindler and John Wallace and Rob Naples drinking whiskey and sat by a fire pit, and Laurelie Nygaard.
I'm going to be sitting next to John Wallace because he picks the good wine. So.
But you could just imagine it. And then I know when you came down, when we had the retreat there at Christmas, you're just like, I could see it. You said it before even I said it to you. You said I could just see everybody sat out there, and just the thing I love. This was my first symposium back in January in Key Biscayne. Although I wasn't there for the planning of it, I was there to host it. Just seeing all those people just getting together and talking and socialising and sharing ideas, and I realised at that moment the strength of Seattle Study Club. It's the relationships. It's directors openly sharing and going away from that, going into study clubs. One thing I found in dentistry forever, people have been territorial. They never really want to help the guy out up the road.
Yep.
Because he's a competitor. I went to Ray Hagney's study club in Charlotte, and there's 25 clinicians, all within a relatively small geographic area, all sharing best practice, what helps them, what company they use for this. I'm like, you guys live like, your offices are like half a mile apart. But it was this abundance mindset, whereas everything else is always territorial. And that is the secret sauce of Seattle Study Club, is every single person wants to uplift the other.
Yes.
They don't compete, they want to uplift, they want to raise standards, they want to help each other. And you don't get that in any other organisation.
Yeah, people will throw the term community around a lot, and it's an overused term, but that's really what it is. These are people, to your point, with an abundance mentality who recognize there's plenty of dentistry to go around. There's plenty of business to go around. And if we can make life better and easier for each other, that actually comes back to us tenfold over time.
Absolutely.
Because we're giving without expecting something to come back to us.
Yeah. And that's the secret sauce of Seattle Study Club.
Brilliant. Well, I appreciate you spending a few minutes with us.
Is that it? Is it all done?
It's all done. Sorry, you're out of time because nobody wants to listen to us for 3.5 hours.
Do you think people will have understood my accent? Or
No.
Can we put subtitles?
We are definitely putting subtitles
on this. Yeah.
So cheers, and thank you for participating in the very first Seattle Study Club podcast.
Cheers, Greg. Thank you to you.
Yeah, it comes in pints.
It sure does. This is a bottle, actually.
That's it.